Looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it's solid. The quality's not the best in terms of like the picture and audio. But it's solid to be able to simulcast to, a few different platforms. So we're live now. We'll just wait a few minutes for people to pop in, and I gotta get us set up on Instagram.
Oh, so we're going live everywhere. That's dope.
Yeah, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and LinkedIn. So
Fire.
yeah.
I gotta share this shit.
Um I see a few people started to pop in. We'll get started in just a second. As you
Hey
know,
y'all.
we are live every Monday, Two Lost Office Hours. Last week we had a great session. Nyla interviewed Cortez Bryant. That was a
Oh,
really, really dope session. So
hell yeah.
we've had really, really good quality conversations from week to week, trying to give folks gems that they can use in their career. I see TT's already tapped in. Appreciate you tapping in. Pretty much every week, TT is locked in.
Hey.
She said last week was fire. I agree. Last week, if you missed it, it's up on our YouTube channel. You can watch it. You can rewatch. You can always rewatch our office hour sessions. So if you don't catch them live, you can always go to our YouTube channel and rewatch them. And last week, just like many other weeks before, there were a lot of gems dropped. So we got a lot of quality folks that we talked to. Today is just a continuation of that. Let me go ahead and introduce my guest. I've known her for how many years now? The time,
I lost track of time. I don't know
yeah,
how many years, Dave.
it's been a minute. It's been a minute. So if I had to guess, I'm gonna go with 6 or 7 years,
Yes, that sounds about right.
maybe
When did
8.
you guys do the Music Entrepreneur Club tour? The first one.
That was probably like 2017, 2018.
So I knew you before then because I was on that tour. I did the Philly stop.
Yeah. So, well, I guess I've never called you Breezy. I always say Brianna, but
Yeah,
I guess go. She
always
goes by
proper.
Breezy.
Brianna,
DeMayo,
Breezy, whatever. I don't care.
the CEO, founder of Taste Creators. If you're not familiar with Taste Creators, make sure you tap in. I think it's just at Taste Creators on most platforms, right?
Everywhere. Yep,
Okay,
branding.
cool. Before we jump into the convo and you give a little background about yourself, I like to start out with like a win, sharing a win from the past weeks. Now it doesn't have to be anything crazy big, but especially since it's Monday, I like to start out with a little positive energy, get the ball rolling, some momentum going into the week. Can you share a win from the past week?
Man. I mean, I feel like a win to me is having an epiphany or like seeing something in a different light that makes you be like, oh, this is how we do it. And I feel like we've had a couple of those this week. Just brought on my guy to handle the Taste Creators social media. We're getting that stuff together. So it's like we've been having a lot of epiphanies internally as a company over the last
Mm,
week. But something bigger that happened is we just launched our partnership with BeatStars. So
nice.
I'm very, very excited about that. So any producers, that want to get some love, hit me up.
What what does that partnership mean for Taste Creators? So what happens? So you got a partnership. What exactly does that mean?
So we now have the Taste Creators Beat Store officially.
Okay.
I wanted to, Mike. I talked to Mike Trampy about like how do we. I know a bunch of producers that are like awesome, and some of them are out here, some of them don't really have a following all like that. So I'm like, how do we show them more love? And Mike was like, well, hey, how about we have the Taste Creators Beat Store? So basically, it's like a launch pad for producers. So artists can go on our store, they can find all different types of beats, and hopefully find producers that they really love, and then go to their pages and form that connection. So, and then we're going to be doing like production camps at Taste Creators and stuff. So it's growing. It's going to be really, really awesome. I'm excited about
That's dope. That sounds like a big win. See, normally it doesn't. When I ask people to share these wins, it don't have to be big. It could be like, hey, I just got a couple workouts in the past week. I've been really wanting to work out, and I've stayed consistent. It
I
can be
wish
that.
I
Eat
wish that
healthy.
was mine.
The epiphany that you guys got was that. Did that just come like was it purposeful? You guys were doing a brainstorming session? Was it just in the midst of you guys working and, it just.
It was more so in the midst of us working and like just trying to figure out a few things. As you work through problems and as you have those transparent conversations and you really like think about it, those moments happen. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, no,
And
for
you'd be
sure.
surprised that like with a change in perspective or one of those aha moments, whoa, there's a fly in here. You'd be surprised at like what that can do for your just momentum and just like your strategy moving forward. So I look
Yeah,
forward to those
I
moments.
don't know if you can. Maybe I'll ask you to share an aha moment in a sec, but I want to go back and just kind of allow you to do an intro of yourself, kind of who you are, what you've been working on, let people know why they should be paying attention to this conversation. I'll let you take the floor and give people an intro.
Oh, all right. Well, hey guys, I am Brianna. You can call me Breezy because we fam now. Don't Dame's the one that calls me Brianna, Mr. Professional. But I'm in the trenches with artists, man. I have a company. We're called Taste Creators. We are really focused on artist development. There's a few different ways that we do that. There's different ways that we work with artists. We're part agency, part distributor, part management, kind of like a hybrid. We do what we cater everything to each individual artist that we work with and their teams and like really see what they need. But we're doing a lot, man. We help artists with a lot of different things. Everything from it's really about the foundation first, branding, making sure that they're showing up on these platforms the way they need to be, making sure that they have the right content, making sure that they understand content and what they should be posting on socials, developing marketing plans, running ad campaigns, shooting content, setting up newsletters, getting their income streams right. We're helping artists sell merch and making sure the music is registered properly. It's a lot of different things, man. And most of it happens here.
Yeah. No, you guys do a lot. You've been around for it, man. When did you guys start?
When did I start? Man, well, I don't even know. I think I got into this. I mean, I grew up in music, on the creative side. I don't know if you want me to go into all of that, but as a company, we've probably been around for like 9, 10 years.
Yeah,
But
and
initially, it was like we were a music blog. Like we were trying to figure out exactly what this was going to turn into. So I still don't think we're in full form yet. But yeah, we've been around for a little minute.
I mean, I think it's important for all companies really to kind of evolve. As the industry evolves, artists have different needs, managers have different needs, so you kind of have to evolve with the times. And I think
Yes.
your guys' ability to do that is the reason why you've been able to last for the 9, 10 years. And you said you're still in the trenches with these artists. A lot of people I know that have been in the trenches have jumped out of the trenches because they're
I like
not.
it in the trenches. It's a
So
wild
what?
ride, but I like it.
No, it is. So you must really love it to be still in the trenches with artists. But what has that experience? How do you stay positive? How do you stay locked in? How do you stay wanting to be in the trenches for so long?
I feel like the winds help with that, type that like if I like helping people. That's just natural to me. It makes me feel good. And when you can truly help someone and like they see the results, I don't know, that shit keeps me going. Like it keeps me just like wow, we really did this shit. So I don't know, but I think it's a natural thing. Like I think I was born to do this and it's a struggle at times. There's definitely times where I'm like, what the fuck? Why did I
Yeah.
decide to hop in the music business? But at the same time, it's a beautiful thing, man. I don't know. These artists keep me going, honestly. And the fact that now that I really think of it, I think the fact that there is a change being made and that things in the music business, like when I got into it on the business side, it was always about protecting artists, giving them the power, changing things to be more in favor of the artist and like really helping them be entrepreneurs at the end of the day, and build leverage. And I feel like as the years go on, it's becoming more and more indie artist friendly. And there's so much more power in the artist's hands. So I think that's another thing that keeps me going. I see the changes, and I'm just I'm here for the ride.
Yeah. What's the ideal like profile of an artist that should come to Taste Creators?
Someone it's funny because we were just talking about like our target audience the other day. Um, while we have things for anybody who's just starting out, we have digital products, we have, we have the studio that you can utilize. Really, the time to come to Taste Creators is when you have a catalog, you have released some music already. Really, that's at the beginning stages, right? If like at least have to have tried already, right? Other artists that come to us because there's artists that already have a big following that come to us, and we work with those artists in different ways. It's really like helping them monetize their audience more, build their community more, and stuff like that. But so really, we work with artists at all ends of the spectrum. But at the if you're green, it's like we can totally help you, but you have had to made an effort yourself first, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like,
So
don't
who's
come to me with no music.
right. So you have, I mean, you have resources that can support artists at different levels
Yes,
of
yes.
their career. And you don't have to be, you're based in Philadelphia, but you don't have to be in Philadelphia, right? And I mean,
No,
you have in-person resources, you have the studio, you have things that you can do, in person. But you don't have to be in Philly to reach out.
no, I mean, we have the studio here, we have the content studio here, we have a whole compound here, which is where I'm at right now. So yeah, if you can get to Philly, then it'll be a more hands-on experience, and we can do more. We can shoot content. We can do a lot of different things. We have artists in performance coaching, vocal coaching, stuff like that. Um, but if you're not here, I mean, we run campaigns and do consulting from all over. So there's still a lot that we can help you with.
Yeah. Because we actually did an interview on the Music Entrepreneur Club. We're starting to do like artist interviews. We call it reality check, where we, interview artists that maybe have hit a roadblock or having some frustrations, and we're kind of talking through those. One of the things this particular artist mentioned was just the difficulty of like building locally, or just finding people that are serious and passionate as he is. Um, do you have any pointers? Because you obviously have built a solid community in Philly. You're on the ground, boots on the ground. For people that want to build in their city, do you have any suggestions for how they might try to find the people if there isn't already a Taste Creators like organization in their city? Like what do you feel like they can do?
Great question. I feel like first it starts with like doing you, right? Like
Mhm.
don't like I didn't focus initially, like it has to happen naturally, right? Like my focus was creating something, which is Taste Creators. And so that way it's like I'm focused on doing something and I have something to talk about, if that makes sense. So then I'm going out, like I suggest that artists find venues in their city, find different events that are going on. And of course I'm from Philly, so we're a city, so there's probably more, I'm more so talking to the ones that are in a city or near a city. It's probably a little bit easier to find different events and things going on. But I think it starts by just getting out there, go to an open mic, go to a music networking event. Like you can't be afraid to just go out to these places. And then you're gonna naturally meet people there. Another way that I've done it is like if I find someone online that I really would love to connect with, I follow them. If it's an artist and I'm like, yo, they're really dope, I'm gonna slide in their DM. I'll start the conversation and say, oh, yo, your music is dope. Really love this song. If you need any help with anything, I'm here. So I think, especially initially when I was building my network, it was not being afraid to start that conversation. And don't start it with, hey, check this out, check out my music, but like, you'd be surprised at what just responding to someone's tweet or commenting consistently on their post like in a genuine way will do. So it starts with like caring, I guess, about
Yeah.
people and being able to make those organic connections.
Yeah, no, that's real. I think thoughtful comments on people's content, well, people are reading the comments. So, if you have thoughtful comments, thoughtful questions, but you do need to get out of your comfort zone a little bit,
Hmm.
and meet people. And maybe if something like Taste Creators doesn't exist in your city, maybe that means you need to start it. And there's a tons of online communities that you should be tapping in with that have a lot of artists that are very serious, just as serious as you about their craft. So whether that's taste creators, whether that's the Digilog, whether that's No Labels Necessaries community, the One More Time podcast community, Ari Herstand's community, the Two Lost community, there's no reason why you can't find other people to connect with and hopefully work with in some capacity. So to me, if you feel like you can't find anybody, you're not trying.
Yeah, basically.
Because there's a lot of artists out there. How have you seen like some of the challenges change over the years, or are they still coming to you kind of for the same thing? Like 8 years ago, 7 years ago, artists might have been coming to you for X. Now they're coming to you more so for what? Has it changed?
A little bit. I mean, a lot of it's still the same, needing help growing my audience and finding those fan base and all that stuff in between. But a lot of the time before, it was like, hey, can you get me on some blogs? Can you do a PR campaign? And that has, I don't know if it's my content or like, the industry has been changing, but like people don't always, that's not the first thing they ask for anymore. Usually it's like, hey, I kind of just need to know what the hell I'm doing. Can you help?
or it went from blogs to playlists. Can you get me on these playlists?
Yeah, that was the evolution. And now I have noticed more and more artists reach out like, hey, I just need to know what the hell I'm doing here. I have built something of a foundation, like somewhat of a foundation, but like I'm trying to figure out how all these pieces can go together and really like run like a well-oiled machine. So, a lot of the time artists are asking for direction. Sorry.
So with that, where do you start the conversation? If they come like, hey, I got a little something here, but I feel kind of lost in the sauce, like where does that conversation start? What questions are you asking them? How does that?
Man, we do an audit, right? Like I do a full-blown like audit on them, not like the IRS. I don't care about your financials too much. But like I'm looking at, okay, we're listening to the music, we're seeing where it's at. Is it amazing? Does it need some work? Do you need production? Let's see where that's at. Because to me, the music matters the most, at least initially. Then we're going into like their online presence. So I like to see, okay, are you everywhere that you need to be? Are you on all the main platforms? What does it look like? Are your at names your artist name? Do you have a professionally shot profile photo? Do you have a link tree in your bio? Do you have a bio? Making sure that the artist is easy to find, and and when people do find them, there's something there that is intriguing that makes them want to check them out. We're going over their content. We're looking through all their content. We're seeing what what types of content they're posting, and what's just to see if we need to adjust that and maybe shoot some more stuff, have some more ideas. We're looking at their income streams. Are you making any money? If so, where's it coming from? Are you selling merch? What are you doing shows? Are you registering your songs properly? That's something that I'm really passionate about now. Just helping artists fully understand how to get paid. So it's a lot, man. It's like a full on, who are you? What are you doing? How are you presenting yourself? And then we kind of take it from there. I mean, I definitely ask more questions. We talk about their goals, where they see themselves. Some artists, that's another thing I noticed. Like before, it was everybody wanted to get signed. Now artists are like, wow, I don't necessarily want to get signed. Or if I do, maybe in the future. But like, so that's definitely changed. So I find myself, which is great to me, because I'm not against labels. I'm just like, it has to be the right time. You have to have the right leverage. I've been preaching that for years. I feel like now artists are starting to understand that more. Like, hey, what can we do independently to build that leverage, and to get some traction, and then we'll see what happens from there. But yeah, man, it's a well-rounded thing. It's like I gotta really see the full picture. Like we're really digging deep.
So I know there's a lot there. Obviously, the audit is very comprehensive. It includes a lot of things. But if we're just looking at social media, for example, What are some of those things that come up in the audit that artists continue to fail to do or just do wrong when it comes to social media? I'm sure there's some recurring themes.
Yeah, I mean, I could kinda give them a checklist, like, you have to understand that when people hear about you, they're gonna Google you, right? Or they're gonna look you up on their favorite network. So if your artist name doesn't match the name that's on Spotify, you're gonna be hard to find. You might get lost in the sauce. So it's like little things like that. Like when I came up with the name Taste Creators, I was like, all right, this probably ain't even available. Like, let me go check the domain, let me check the at names on all the major platforms. And it was actually available. So I was like, oh shit, okay, I got something here. So I think that artists should pay attention to like what your profiles look like. Are they cohesive? Like I'll actually pull up their Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, well, X, Instagram. I'll pull up all of them and we'll take a broad look at it. Like another thing that makes profiles stand out is like if you have a dope profile photo where people can actually see your face versus like a logo or like a picture that's really blurry or really small, you can't see you. You have to understand that people connect with faces, they connect with people. So if your profile photo actually shows a picture of you and it's clear and it looks great, that helps someone recognize you and follow you. It's really the little things that make a big difference. There's artists that like I personally hate when artists put like a Spotify link in their bio or an iTunes link in their bio. It's kind of like, well, where's the smart URL or where's the link tree? Like people, you're blocking if you put an Apple Music link in your bio, then you're blocking out everybody that uses Spotify. They can't just click there and do what you want them to do. So that's a big thing. I'm making sure that artists are allowing their fans to do, like making it easy for their fans to do what they want them to do with the click of a button.
Yeah.
So having that link tree, making sure that when you have a link tree, I actually go on artist link trees and they don't even have their icons, their social icons and streaming icons at the top. Like they haven't updated it in 2 years. They didn't, you know what I mean? So just
Yeah.
little things like that, man. It's making sure that your presence matches and is easy to find. And when people get there, it's like, well, what are they going to see? What does your Instagram or Twitter bio say? That's gonna, because I've landed on pages and like their bio said something really cool and I was like, hold on, like that's funny, like I gotta follow this person, just off of what their
Yeah.
bio said. So you never know how someone's going to connect with you, and the easier you make it, the better.
Yeah, no, I mean, a lot of people might be listening to this and be like, "Oh, this is kind of basic and common sense," but I don't know if people will or would not be surprised at like how many
It's
artists.
so many, yeah, and a lot of artists don't even have like, they have Facebook pages, like they have a Facebook profile, but they don't have a fan page. I noticed, and it's like, well, they're like, well, I hate Facebook, and I'm just like, well, join the club, but like you can't run ads properly if you don't have a Facebook page set up and an ad account, like you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
um yeah, you'd be surprised, man. It is basic stuff. Like I feel like a broken record sometimes, but you'd be surprised at like how many artists have these issues, and you know, their at names don't match, or
because
they look like a different person on one network to the other.
that's because they follow Champagne Poppy and they feel like they're Champagne Poppy, so they can have a different Twitter handle because Drake has a different Twitter handle.
Yeah, I mean, he was already popping though before all this stuff came about. I don't
Right.
think was Instagram around when he was like first coming out? Was it like a big? I don't know, but
Mm, yeah.
overall, here's my reply to that. Like, if you're because a lot of the time, sometimes artists' at names are not available. So it's like, all right, cool. If you don't want to change your name, then at least still make it cohesive, right? Like, get your artist name on whatever platforms you can get your artist name, or like pick a name. Like, if your shit's gonna be Champagne Poppy, like let it be Champagne Poppy everywhere, and then make
Yeah.
sure your display name is your artist name. So in a perfect world, your display name and your at name are going to match. But if not, and your artist name is taken, just make sure that your at names at least are cohesive. So if I can find you on Instagram, I can go find you on X, or I can't believe I said X, but TikTok or wherever.
I refuse to call it. Yeah, no, I was so the cat that we interviewed on the Music Entrepreneur Club recently, like he had his IG still said SOD Money Gang on the end of it, but he's no longer affiliated with it. And I try to get it to understand, like, hey, if you keep that, I know you might want to keep that, But like what you're doing now has nothing to do with that. They have their own brand that comes with its own kind of preconceived notions of what it is and what to expect when people see that. So, and
Hmm.
like you said, it's not consistent from platform to platform. So you really might want to consider, dropping that. It doesn't mean you're not friends with them anymore, but you're not affiliated in a music sense. So, you might want to change your name.
Yeah.
Um,
Sometimes changing your name is the answer, but it is a big deal. Like,
mm, yeah.
artists, they got to change their name, and most of the time they're like, "What? No."
The other conversation, and I hate this conversation because I don't like conversations that pit like different roles against each other. So like the artist versus producer, or like the artist
Not me
versus
either. I don't like it either. We're all on the same team here.
because my guys over at No Labels Necessary, we talked about this on the podcast recently because they recently posted a clip, 50 Cent talking about how he doesn't need a manager.
Oh yeah.
So it sparked a conversation around, do artists need managers? um how many artists have you come across that you felt like, oh yeah, this person's fine, completely fine managing themselves, they'll be okay? How many people, or either as a number of people or a percentage of artists that you've come across that you feel like could really manage themselves?
Here's the thing. I love working with artists that are business people, right?
Mhm.
Um, they are, whether they have a manager or not, they're involved,
Yeah.
all the time in the process. They know what's going on. They know what decisions they're a part of the decisions that are being made. That's a dream to me, you know.
And
I
that
haven't.
should be the case whether you have a manager or not. You should be all the way tapped in for sure.
Yes, yes. A lot of Here's my thing. My take on, I do feel like artists need managers. I feel like the role of a manager is changing a bit to more business partner.
Mhm.
Um, but I don't feel like an artist needs a manager. Like, I feel like initially you need to manage yourself. Like, don't go looking. I hate when artists go looking for a manager too. Like, don't go looking for a manager. There's so many artists that have DM'd me asking if I can manage them, and it's like, bro, please don't ask anybody if they can manage you, especially if you don't know them and haven't built a real relationship with them. So
Yeah.
I don't think artists need managers initially. And even when they do have a manager, I still think they need to be a business person. Like, they need to be involved fully.
Yeah. No, they definitely have to stay tapped in. Like having a manager is not a substitute for like your attention and your involvement and your ideas. So you
It's
need
like
to stay.
it's like
You,
I got a
you
manager now, so I can just make this music, and it's like that's not.
mm,
Mm-mm.
yeah, that is not the case. But there aren't that many. I mean, I feel like part of the reason I do this and stay present is I want to try to pour into the managers as well, because I don't feel like there's not that many like quality managers like ready to work with artists. So as artists are progressing, like managers need to continue to learn, continue to network,
Hmm.
and build themselves up so they have the skill set capable to fully support an artist when that time comes. Unfortunately, a lot of quality managers end up leaving the business because of whatever reason. They find something better to get into, they get frustrated. But I'm sure you've seen a lot of managers leave the industry or just kind of get into something else within the industry.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy out here.
Yeah.
So, and it's heartbreaking if I've been through multiple heartbreaks in this industry. As cheesy as that may sound, when you're really working with an artist, you form a family, you form a real bond. And if you guys part ways, it's like a breakup.
Yeah.
So I can see how that can make people be like, nah, man, I'm done with this. But
Would you would you prefer like the era in which like the blog era? Would you prefer to work in that era as the owner of Taste Creators, or would you prefer to work in today's time if you could just pick?
I'd say today's time.
Why and
Um,
why?
because I feel like everybody, how can I say this? I was saying the things that are happening now, you should have a newsletter. You should be, really running your music business like your own business. I've been saying that since the blog era. And back then it was like, what the hell are you talking about, Breezy? Get
Yeah.
me on this blog. I feel like now I'm more understood, like what we're doing and what we're trying to do. I think the industry is headed there now, you know? So yeah, I would say now, as crazy as it is.
So you're right, and so all that stuff is important. Let's just say a newsletter, for example, but it's not like just have a newsletter. Like
No.
how do you really grow and like make sure you have a newsletter that has a high open rate that keeps people engaged? Like when you're consulting artists about their newsletter, what are some of the things that you're talking about?
So, I mean, it starts with like, man, that's such a great question. Well, it starts with like, what are we trying to say here? Because some artists, like, they're just like, well, I'm going to send them, they send out newsletters when they have a song to promote or something. And it's like, no, I like for artists to have a personal connection with their subscribers. So it's really about like, what should this look like? What should we put in there? Like, there's artists that, have put letters to their fans, or like something in the beginning of the email that's like, uh, motivational or a thought of the day or of the week or something like, or maybe it's something funny. It really has to fit with the artist personality. Like I like when newsletters are an extension of the artist in some way, because then you just form a better connection with the person that's opening up the email.
Yeah.
And it's because it's also in how everything is written. Like I like to write, especially when we're doing these newsletters. Like I like either if I write them or the artist, if I help the artist write them, I like it to come. I like it to be like the person is opening the email and they feel like the artist is talking directly to them. Like this isn't their label trying to send out a mass email or something. You know what I mean? Like this is the artist truly connecting with their fan. Um,
Yeah.
so first it's figuring out what that should even look like, what that should be, and mapping out what those first like 3 to 5 newsletters could even be, or
Yeah.
what could go in it. Once we personalize it, okay, well we still got to make sure the music is in there, the merch is in there. We're setting up discounts. I feel like any artist that has a newsletter, whether they're collecting phone numbers or emails, it should be like there should be a benefit to being on your list. Like they have
Yeah.
to, whether that they're getting discounts to your merch or to your shows, or they're getting first dibs on the records, or like something. You got to think of something that is a reason for someone to subscribe. Otherwise, they can just like follow you on TikTok or Instagram or something. Um,
Do, have you guys developed kind of like a suggested or like a rule of thumb of like promo versus entertaining versus discounts, like just in terms of like the newsletter? So you is there any type of cadence that you guys would suggest? Like this one's like
I
two
like a
two of the
little
most.
bit of. I like. Well, I suggested an artist like once a week is perfect, but like even when they first start, once a month is fine. I like a little bit more than once a month, only because like you don't want people to forget about you. So
Yeah.
once a week or bi-weekly is cool. But I like for the emails to have a bunch of those things in one, right? Like I would like for you to open up the email and you're gonna get entertained, and you're also gonna get something out of it. You're gonna get a merch discount or something like that. But then you're also gonna have the latest updates about the artist too. It's just like
Yeah.
it's written in a way that you don't feel like I'm only receiving this so I can be sold to, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, and I think artists need to really kind of think through their overall strategy, right? Because the newsletter, I mean, you should be taking your fans on a journey, and all of the touch points should be kind of consistent on this journey. So it's not just the newsletter; it's the stuff you're doing, and so on social media, it's any live events that you're promoting or setting up. It's the merch, like
Hmm.
everything should be consistently kind of taking them through the same, telling the same story. So the newsletter doesn't happen in isolation without all of the other stuff, right?
Yep, exactly. It's got to be well rounded. Like it's a funnel that you're setting up essentially. You have your social media accounts, you're growing them, you're probably running ads. So your ads are going to reach strangers, hopefully. Those strangers are going to hopefully follow. and now they're going to start engaging with you over time. But the goal would be to take them from being a stranger who saw you from an ad or a piece of content, who is now following you, getting to know you, and now they actually want to hear more from you on a deeper level and potentially buy from you. So they're willing to give up their contact info for that. So that's like the end of kind of like the end of the funnel, right? It's like they don't just start there. It's not just
Right.
like, hey, stranger, give me your email.
Yeah. And I just want to let people know that you can ask questions. And I think some people have asked some questions already. So I
Oh, shit.
apologize for ignoring the chat up until this point. But if you just type your questions in the comments, whether you're on YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, or Twitch, I'll be able to put them on the screen and we can answer as many as we can before the hour is up. Let's see.
Yeah, y'all can
And
DM me too.
Ryan Schmidt, who's a frequent guest on here. I think he comes on once every 5 Mondays. He said, and stop asking lawyers to manage you. Two different skills. Yes, yes.
Oh,
Even
I
though
love his
even
content. Love your content, Ryan.
even though 50 Cent said that all he needs is a lawyer is not a substitute for a
A manager.
manager.
No,
Two
they have a
completely different.
specific role.
Yes, yes, yes. Let's see. Mike P asks, how many artists know what needs to be managed? Really just want someone to give opportunities. That
Yeah,
is
a lot of artists, and that's how you kind of know where they're not ready for management yet too, because a lot of artists they really need an assistant or something, or like some guidance. They don't need a manager. A lot of artists look for managers because they want them to do assistant type work,
yeah,
right? Or it could be like they want them to grow their audience and to pitch them for stuff, and it's like, hey, your success actually starts with you. Like, get a manager when you have too much traction, like when there's too much going on that you need somebody to help you reel it in and to really help with that. But yeah, I agree. With what
yeah.
you said.
If you're fortunate to have somebody that believes in you, that wants to work with you, that has a skill set like early on, because I always, I mean, I understand when people say, hey, get a manager when you have something to manage. I've always pushed back on that a bit.
If
In
someone
the in,
believes in you from the beginning, like a friend or a family
yeah,
member, that's amazing. I'm not saying to say no, you stay over there. If you can get some real help in the beginning,
yeah,
cool. But it's got to be natural, and they have to be willing to learn.
yeah. And I would just, for most artists, finding a quality manager is not going to happen for a very long time. So prepare to do everything by yourself. That is always the advice that I give artists. Like, prepare to go on this journey. Like, you're going to have to do everything completely by yourself, because that might be the case for a very long time until you start to get some traction.
Yeah, and it's
That's
good to be able to, I guess, go to a manager. Like when you do start having those conversations, it's helpful when an artist is like, "Here's the vision." Like they are fully like, "This is what I did. This is where I feel like I'm struggling at a bit. I feel like this is where I need some help. Here's what I want this to look like." You know, I feel like just that's an artist that takes this shit seriously and really wants to work, versus like, I need a manager because I don't know what I'm doing and I just need some help and I need somebody to get me in these rooms. That is like, whoa, 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 reel it in. You know what I'm saying? Like, center yourself, come back to like, you got to get
yeah.
yourself together first.
Yeah, and anytime an artist is like, you need opportunities, need people to get me in these rooms. You need to start building directly with fans and start building a community. Like, to let me know, like, hey, I need playlist support. I need, connections. No, the only connections you need is with your next fan, and then the fan after that, and then the fan after that. If that's not the focus, then I think you're probably a little misguided at the moment.
Hmm.
So that's where most of the energy should be.
I think a lot of
Um,
artists don't want to like like, getting into that mindset of I got to bet on myself isn't always the easiest, right? Like, damn, you really like I really do have to do this myself until somebody comes along to help. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it could be, I guess, a little scary.
Yeah, no, I get it. It's a daunting task. I mean, it's very difficult. No one ever said it was easy. Um, but you either do it or you don't. I mean, you really don't have a choice. Um, well, I guess that is the choice. But
Yeah.
if uh if you could change anything right now, like specifically about the industry, like what would you want to see changed? If you could just snap your fingers and be like, boom, all right, this is changed. What would Breezy change
Ooh,
about the industry as it currently sits?
man. See, that's one I would want to think about. Um, what would I change? I mean, I would like for publishing to not be so fucking confusing. Excuse my language, but I feel like there's so much information out there that I'm so passionate now about helping artists like understand royalties and splits and like where to register your song, because a lot of artists think that they just upload it to their distributor and they're I'm good to go, and it's like, nah, you're not. You got to do a couple more things. So I
Yeah.
wish that like that was a little more I guess talked about and transparent. I wish that contracts were widely available, like so we can see what everybody is doing. That could be cool. Other than that, I kind of like where the industry is headed. I'm not even going to hold you. Like it's kind of craziness right now. There's artists getting dropped from labels. There's execs that are leaving labels. There's a lot of craziness, but I do think at the end of the day that the power is truly in the artist's hands now, and that's where I always wanted it. So it's like, I feel like things are changing, and in a good way for the artist at the same time. Like I'm not too
Yeah.
scared.
No, yeah. I mean, obviously, the recent changes, the recent layoffs is painful if you're experiencing it yourself. Um, but I think it creates opportunities like organizations like yours, Taste Creators, that's been in the trenches. Now that artists don't have the support of these labels, they might be turning to you for these conversations because you've been talking through artists about how to build independently. Because I think a lot of these artists that are signed to major labels, they're kind of lost because they didn't keep that independent mindset, right? They when they signed, they kind of let go of certain things and let go of control of certain things. It didn't really have direct communication with their fans, and they thought other people were going to do it for them. So I think a
Hmm.
lot of the things we talked about today, they're going to have to learn or relearn.
Hmm.
Are there, do you kind of see this as an opportunity too? Have you started reaching out to some of the artists that have been dropped?
I
How are you?
haven't. I have not been reaching out. I feel like I've been so like in my own world lately because there's certain things that I'm really trying to like finalize and get set up on for Taste Creators and for the artists that we're currently working with. So we kind of like been in our own little bubble, but I do agree that it is an opportunity for companies like ours to, I think the industry is more tight, like smaller teams working hands on with the artists. I think that that's really the way to go, versus like you're on a roster of 100 plus artists. You know what I mean? But it's I've been saying this stuff for years, so that's why it's like, all right, is it time now, guys? You see what I've been saying? Like, can we finally get with the program and build a business?
I mean, I mean, I've seen that, for over a decade now. Like there's a lot of ideas that start in the independent space or things that independent artists and people that support independent artists they've been doing it for years and years and years. And then like some major label exec uses a word like super fan or community, and now, now all of a sudden it's a new
Music
thing.
entrepreneur, yeah.
Yeah, now all of a sudden it's a new thing. But no, a lot of these ideas, you might have new tools to execute it, but the concepts are very similar. Like we did not just invent like what a super fan is. There's a lot of artists that have been catering to their super fans for decades.
Oh,
It
you
just
did what you did with Funk Volume and all that. Like you got, I feel like you've always had a full understanding, a real grasp on what the importance of connecting directly with your fans, and that
yeah.
showed in the results that you were able to get. So, I
And
think that. artists are going to care more about that now.
And we weren't the first. I think we used Facebook and social media a little differently than, past labels and past artists that were independent. But again, it's still the same mindset. So no matter what tool you have today, whether it's Bandcamp or Even or,
I love
Beehive,
Even.
like all of these tools, to go direct to fans, like the concept is still the same. You just have to pick the tools that work
I think
for
artists
you.
should definitely be using Even. Like, Even is great.
Yeah. And
For
we
anybody who
have
doesn't know about it.
Two Loss is working on a partnership with Even. And I know they market it, because the way they market it, they're like, hey, you just sold X amount on Even. This would have taken you X amount of streams to be. So they always like compare the two when you don't really have to choose between, capturing upfront money by selling
Yeah,
direct,
you should
and
do both.
you should be doing both. Right. I know but the way I know they don't have to market it that way,
I
but that's
like
kind
that they do that, because even if in their marketing they do say like, don't, like, still use streaming. Like, you know what I mean? Just use us first. But I think that they have to do that, because I like when they do that, because it really shows that equivalent of like, hey, don't just rely on streaming. Like, you could be, your fans could be paying you now, basically.
right. But again, this is another concept that independent artists have never subscribed to. Like, we've never been dependent on one revenue stream. Like, nobody ever said that. So now that people are like, oh, don't just rely on streaming. Like, when have we ever?
Yeah, I've never just relied on streaming.
Yeah, like, I mean, we even if talk about Funk Volume, my brother would sell CDs in front of the mall. We would sell merch. We would get on the road. Like, as an independent artist, you have to get it wherever you can. You have to have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 revenue streams. And luckily today there is a lot of ways to monetize your content. So. Yeah, I like where we're at today. It does come with its challenges. There are a lot of
For
artists out
sure.
here trying to do this.
But I feel like you can cut through the noise, because a lot of people aren't doing all these things that we're talking about. So it's like, the more you do implement these things, and you care about branding yourself, and you care about your content, and you're making great music, and you're really building that community, it's like, you set yourself apart just from that.
Yeah, no, for sure. We're coming up on the end of the hour. If you guys have any
Oh
more
man, that went by fast.
if you have any more questions, put them in the comments, please. I see a lot of activity in there, a lot of great comments. I'm not sure if I missed any actual questions though. What's coming up this year for taste creators that you can share? You're
That
allowed
I
to share.
can share.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, I feel like we're already in 2025. So this last quarter is more so us buckling down and like getting some things ready to go crazy in 2025. Very excited to continue building with BeatStars. We're actually building a Taste Creators catalog right now. We're doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes. Very excited for the artist that I manage. Amir Ali, he's dropping a project really soon. So I'm excited to like really show everyone what I'm talking about in 2025, as far as like taking an artist who has something and like really bringing in some money and like going on a nice run. So I feel like there's just so many things that I haven't done yet that I'm trying to do, and I'm doing the work behind the scenes to bring it to fruition. So I can't talk much on it.
So no, so we used to sell. We had a beat stores too, and it did pretty well. Again, that was another way to kind of monetize the brand, because people wanted Funk Volume beats. We had a collection of producers, so we would always have a beat store that was replenished with a lot of beats, and that was something I think anybody that has a brand in the music industry can create a beat store. If you have a platform and have awareness, if you have some good music people rock with, obviously they want to they a lot of our fans were also artists, so it made that much
Yeah.
more sense. It made that much more sense for us to have a beat store. um Cool. Anything else you want to see change in the industry in 2024 or that you're gonna help change?
I'm gonna help artists keep making more money. I'm gonna help them make as much money as I possibly can independently. I'm gonna
Yeah.
help them keep control over their careers as much as for as long as possible. I'm gonna help them not lose their mind in the fucking process because it is it's crazy out here, you know, and artists are human at the end of the day. And I really, at Taste Creators, we really believe in that, like taking care of the artist. So, but I like where it's headed. I think that the more artists can start thinking independently, even if they are signed, even if they want to get signed, the more control of their business that they have, the better. And I'm excited to continue seeing artists go down that path. Like look at La Russell, like what he's doing is great.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, we always say that it's crazy out here, and it kind of is, but does it have to be though? Like, and I don't feel like it has to be. Like, you can create a space, and I know a few artists that have done this that are very well, actually, not even just a few. It's a lot. It's just they connect with who they need to connect with. They have a strong network. They kind of
Hmm.
set their boundaries, and I think as you stay in this, you start to see red flags early, so you can kind of cut communication if you start to see red flags earlier, and just kind of protect your space.
Hmm.
Because it can be a wild industry, and people are doing shady things here and there.
I stay
But if
away
you,
from the shady people. You got to
yeah,
really be, just like you said, Dan. Like you got to really, if it feels like your gut's telling you to not go forward, then don't. You just got to know how to maneuver.
but it's all rooted in education, and that's why we have
Yes.
this, why we have the Music Entrepreneur Club, because you can do, I mean, you can go out and potentially get taken advantage of, or the other end of the spectrum is like you just keep your guard up and you don't interact and engage with anybody, right? Either one of those options aren't good, right? But however,
Yep.
if you are educated, you can navigate the industry with confidence, and you're protected by what you know. You're protected by your knowledge. So uh,
Yes.
the more you learn, the
The
less
more you
likely,
earn.
yeah, the less likely you're going to get taken advantage of or build with the wrong people. So again, it all goes back to education for me.
Hmm.
Uh, any last? I mean, I know we talked about a lot, but any last words of encouragement or suggestions, or maybe just tell people where they can find you.
I just for any artists that are watching this, I just want you to fully bet on yourself, fully understand that you can do it. There's a lot of artists that are like, well, what else, Breezy? Like, I know I gotta post content, I know I gotta make music and drop music consistently, but like what else? And it's like there that's it. Like that's what I need you guys to keep doing, the get in the groove and find that consistency, perfect the music. That matters a lot because if your music is great and like you're posting it and you're getting a reaction out of it, then that means that the more people that see it or hear it, the people are going to love it. So I want artists to be more in tune with themselves and like really pay attention to the results that you're getting. Throw all the excuses out the window. The I don't want to, I'm not a content creator, I don't want to create content. Like get that out your mind. I'm just tired of artists kind of holding themselves back. Like I creating content isn't my favorite thing in the world, but you kind of have to do it. And I just want, I've been through a lot of roadblocks, and I just want artists to. Sometimes you got to force yourself to get out of it. You know what I mean? Stay out of
Yeah.
your head as much as possible. I know that's so much easier said than done, but you truly have to believe in yourself. And if you do, you won't be afraid to like. Well, maybe you will be afraid, but you got to do it scared too. Like put your first foot forward. Do what you got to do to grow your audience. Those things that you've been avoiding are probably the things that are going to help you succeed. So yeah, but if you have any questions, because I know I just been into this conversation, but I just saw that there's a lot of like comments and things like that. If you guys have questions, feel free to DM me. Brianna DeMayo, here. Should I put it in? Can I put it in the chat? Hold on, I gotta join the chat. Damn,
Sure,
I ain't
I'll
doing
do.
all that. I didn't
I'll do.
sign in, but yeah, you can give them my email. Tell everybody to DM me if they need some help with anything.
You
I
giving
am
up
here.
email? You giving up?
Yeah, yeah. I'll give up my email. I mean, well, don't send me only if you really got a good question. You know, if you want to submit like your music, then there's a link in my bio to do that. And if you're a producer that wants to submit for your beats for BeatStars for our store, that link is in the bio too. And if you want to work with me, the link is in the bio.
No, but I think you obviously, I mean, you just gave them your email. You've given them a lot of opportunity. You've given them like a lot of direct opportunities to build, you know, obviously with giving your email and your handle. But even if you didn't give that information and you just listen to this conversation, you're like, oh, they're starting a beat store. You know, maybe that's a point of entry potentially. If you make some fire with one of their beats and then you tag them, you know, you just got to start building relationships. It doesn't happen overnight. You just got to plant ththese seeds.
It could be
And
as simple as, "Hey Breeze, I saw your live stream with Dame. Your information was fire. Appreciate it." It could be as simple as that. Because you know what that does? That makes someone go on your page now. I'm gonna reply to you, and I'm probably gonna click on your page. And if, say, the first post that I see is like, "Your song is amazing," cool. Now I'm gonna follow you back, and we're building. So really, don't overthink it. You know.
yeah, no, for sure. That's a great message to end on. I'm gonna go with Breezy now. I'm gonna let go.
Oh shit. And
I
damn, I'll
appreciate
see you in what, like 2 weeks?
Yeah. We have the Game from the Gods tour coming up. So again, I appreciate you joining. It's always a pleasure catching up with you. For people that aren't tapped in with Taste Creators, make sure you follow Breezy. Make sure you follow at Taste Creators. They always got a lot of cool stuff going on, and it sounds like they have some very big plans for
Yes.
2025. I'm excited to see what happens. This has been another great episode of Two Lost Office Hours. Next week, we'll be back, same time, same day. Everybody have a great week. Lock in your wins. Make sure you share your wins on Wednesday, and we're out. Peace.